Alright, your new neighbors just moved in. They get out, you realize it's a black man and a white woman. Nowadays, that's not even a problem, really. In 1967, in the Loving versus Virginia case that was ruled by the Supreme Court, they struck down all the bars left over from the Jim Crow Acts that had caused it to where interracial couples could not get married. In 2000, Alabama Interracial Marriage Amendment finally took away that law in the state of Alabama, although it had been shut down 33 years before. Now my question is, last year, the ban against recognizing gay marriage for our federal government was disbarred. How long will it take the state of Alabama to realize that? DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act, was signed in 1996 by President Bill Clinton. This made it to where the federal government did not recognize gay marriages from states where it was legal for them to do so. They would not receive federal benefits, nor be able to file federal joint returns. The U.S. versus Windsor, last year in 2013, struck down DOMA. Same-sex marriages were now recognized through the federal government and gave them opportunities to take advantage of federal systems. However, in our state scope, Alabama in 2006 passed Amendment 774. This is also known as the Alabama Sanctity of Marriage Act. It was overwhelmingly passed by 81% of Alabama voters. Benjamin Franklin once said, "In this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes." Is it really so if you're, a married same-sex couple? Taxes. The IRS ruling 2013, Tax 17, based on the repeal of the DOMA Act, stated that since same-sex couples were now recognized by the federal government, they could file their joint returns. However, the state of Alabama, due to Amendment 774, states that they still cannot file a state return. Now, while that doesn't really seem like that much of a deal, when I was stationed in North Carolina, while I was in the military, always filed Alabama returns. My wife, however, while we were living up there, worked in the state of North Carolina and filed North Carolina state taxes. The difference in that was over $500 and something I had to pay back when we filed our taxes. Hart versus Bentley was a case that is still in the Supreme Court of Alabama today. Paul Hart and David Francher got married in 2011 up in Massachusetts. They came back to live in Birmingham. 3 months later, Mr. Francher was on his way to work. On his way, he got hit by an 18-wheeler. Mr. Hart received a phone call telling him that Mr. Francher had just been in an accident to come to the hospital. Upon arriving there, he was denied to go back. They wouldn't let him see him. They did not recognize the marriage, so therefore, since he was not a next of kin, there was no relation between the two, they wouldn't allow him to see Mr. Francher. About 3 hours later, he was allowed to go back. One of the hospital workers finally gave in and let him go back. On the way back there, he asked how he was doing and was informed that he had passed away about an hour earlier. Well, after his death, Mr. Hart took care of all of his, funeral, paid for all of that, took care of all the debts that are usually due when someone passes. When it came time for all of Mr. Francher's insurance policies and all that to be dealt out, Mr. Hart was his primary beneficiary. But he actually had to go to court in the state of Alabama just to receive the money that was due to him because Alabama didn't recognize their marriage and fought him on it. He eventually won that, but in the wrongful death suit that followed Mr. Francher's death, he is still in court today trying to fight for money that is rightfully his because the state says there's nothing there. Richmond versus Richmond. This is a case from Madison County, Alabama. Two ladies decided to get married in the state of Iowa. Come back. After about a year, they wanted to get divorced. And were promptly told by the court of Madison County that if you're not married, you can't get divorced. Social Security is one of the federal benefits that same-sex couples can't receive because it's based on state. And if they're living in a state such as Alabama where their marriage is not recognized, they're not going to get any money from it. So that's saying if your partner passes away, you get older, if you have a child, that child belonged to the partner that passed away, they'll receive the money in their view. However, if that child belonged to a partner that's still alive, although they may have known that parent for a long time and have always seen them as a parent, they won't receive anything. VA benefits is a very interesting thing to me since the military, being a federal agency, recognizes marriages performed in any state and will give benefits to the partners. However, the VA does not because they base it on state, which was the case in Air Force Captain C.J. Wilkerson. He was married to his partner in the state of California and a year later moved to Nevada. He applied for his VA loan and received it, well, 50% of it, because since he applied with his partner, who was of the same sex, they only granted him half of it because, in their eyes, that wasn't a partner. Had he applied by himself, he would have received the full benefit, though. The one that struck me the hardest is adoption, though. In Sercre versus Bentley in Mobile, a judge denied the adoption of a child by its other mother, you could say, due to the fact that they were not the biological mother. They fought in a 10/12/2012, the Alabama Civil Court of Appeals struck down the case. I have a quote from Governor Bentley and Attorney General Luther Strange. It's a response to a letter from Mr. Hard. It reads, Alabama has an interest in preserving the legal rights of children to be connected to their biological parents, particularly fathers. Alabama's marriage laws secure the rights of children by co-identifying the ancient common law offices of father and mother. Incentives biological fathers and mothers to step into the offices by privileging marriage with special rights and benefits. Although, how many children are out there that don't have any parents that these people are looking to adopt and provide a stable home? How many children are out there that have never met either their mother or father, but can't have a second parent because our state says that doesn't go? But the most troubling part of all this is Alabama has no laws barring adoption of same-sex couples. That's just the opinion of people in power. I want to leave you with this. I know it may not change all of your opinions on this matter. Some of it I may not even affect it that much. However, I hope I at least planted a seed. These people are citizens of the United States, but they're being denied rights that we're given daily and take advantage of fully without even thinking about it. The Bible says, love thy neighbor. Are these people not our neighbor?